Hey everybody. So, welcome to the first Scale Fracture solo songwriting session. Um, so the goal of these is really just for y'all to see my creative process, how I go about writing songs. So some of that actually might be even just comical. Um, but I think what's really cool is we can hear a song and just be like totally amazed, but then go back to, oh, wait, that's what that song is about? Or that's how it started? And so a lot of it is just you to see just kind of that creative process, not even me telling you how to do it, but just how I go about writing songs. And this also gives me the kick in the butt to write songs and work on them. So some of these will be just me, just kind of mess around with riffs and lyrics. Others I'll have Nick, where we'll actually have the full band, and you'll see kind of our recording process. But for the most part, right now, it'll just be me kind of hanging out. I'm right now in the guitar studio I teach from, so shout out to Grow Your Gift in Crestview. Thank you for let me use the space in between students. So yeah, so, and also just fair warning, if this sounds terrible or audio quality, this is my first time trying this and just giving it a shot. And you know, where I'd love everything to be perfect the first try, it's usually not, especially when it comes to songwriting. As you see, there's a very rough draft session where you're just kind of throwing words on paper and just seeing what happens. But that's where I hope y'all get to see my thought process, but then also just kind of you get to see the growth. You get to see, even if I'm playing something, you're like, wow, that sounds really lame. You, you'll start to see where it starts to come from. It's like, hey, wait, no, that's coming together. Like, oh, shoot. And I hope it encourages other people to get out and create some songs. If you're not a songwriter, art, just anything. Want this to just be an encouraging. And so if I'm bad, I'm bad. I'm going to have fun while I'm doing it, though. So this is the first kind of riff Nick and I have been working on for a little bit. And it actually started like most of these songs. It's kind of funny how long they've been like bedroom jam sessions where you're just sitting in your room and you're just kind of messing around, and then you're like, oh shoot, that was cool. That was actually how June came about. So June literally started just sitting in my bedroom and just and June just kind of, it was just kind of that. I've learned guitar just through shapes, like bass, all of that. I just learned your basic chord shapes, bar chords, all of that, scale shapes, and then I just kind of went with them. So even that one was just kind of me messing around the scale, and then it was just kind of like, shoot, I really like that. And if anything, it all started from kind of this chord progression. And it was just kind of, what if I go down and then find a quick way to come back up? Or I don't even think I was that smart. I think I was just having fun. And then literally the lyrics came afterwards while I was crawling into bed and just like, na 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 na, someplace better than this. And then it was just like something out of a movie. You get up. I don't know if you hear the kids. I mean, that's just ambiance. But it just kind of like got up, and I'm like, oh, I need to write this down before I forget. You know, like the genius inventions you come up with right as you're falling asleep, and then you probably could have made like $1 million off of them, but then you wake up and totally forgot what it was. So I guess the piece of advice there is to get up and write it. All right. So this riff that I've been messing with, and you'll see me kind of mess with it on the soundboard here, on my mixer, on my pedals, um, and I'm just gonna kind of a lot of times I have my looper, and I will just kind of play something and loop it. I'll just see what's I gotta sit with it for a minute and try and come up with words while I'm doing it. Also, if you're commenting, I cannot see your comments. I totally meant to bring my computer so that I can see what I look like and how things are coming through. And I did not do that. So I'm going to learn the hard way. So, but anyways, if you're commenting, I appreciate it. Definitely share the stream. Um, just getting the music out there means a lot. So anyways, so the riff I've kind of been working with, and I'm going to use a flanger, if you know what that means. Makes the guitar sound kind of trippy. So, but anyways, I've been kind of messing around with this riff. And so I'm similar to that type of like, I think it's the bass player in me. I like the repetitive, repeating riff that just kind of keeps going on and on. Obviously, if it's going on way too much and and you're just kind of like, when does it end? But I really like to create that because then I get into kind of this trance, this vibe. I feel like trance is too fancy a word. But I get into that vibe and I'm like, yeah, I just want to chill here for a minute. Something about that feels right. What's funny though is that riff actually started with messing around with an open chord progression that went like this. So, and kind of bouncing between those. And I think what's hard is a lot of times writing a song, you can get tempted to try to be impressive when one, being impressive, like it's cool to see somebody be able to absolutely wail on guitar. Me, half the time, I am just having fun with it. Um, but I think if we're just trying to be impressive, then the song is coming from the wrong place. It's coming from the wrong heart. I want music that's just honest, and it's just, hey, I feel something in this. Does anybody else feel this? And maybe you feel something differently. But I do like kind of that simple in my terms of pretty basic chord progression. But I'm getting to where I feel like my songs were too simple, where like, and one of my favorite songs to do, because it's my mom's favorite, is our song Dots and Stars, where it's and so that one is very simple. There's simple chord progression. And I think I had also gotten into this trap of, oh, I just need to crank out original songs. I just need to crank them out, get them out. And it just kind of rushed them. And there's even some songs I want to go back that we've done and kind of revisit. Or some of them that's just like, no, that's what it is. And it was, it may never be a single or a number one hit, even a top 100 hit, top 500 hit. But I view a lot of the songs I write as kind of steps. And a lot of my musical journey has just kind of been, hey, I'm going to buy this instrument and try and learn it. I'm going to see where it goes. Like, if you don't know, before I was a guitar, I played bass. I still do. But even before bass, I actually started on mandolin. And that literally came from, I want to get into music. I want to learn something, but I want to learn something unique. And so I picked up mandolin, walked into a music shop. I didn't even know the name of it, but the dude I was talking to was like, sold me on it. I was like, cool, I'm in. And then now I'm years later here doing a stream in a local band, teaching of all things. Um, but yeah, so all of that in the same way with some songs. 20 years from now, I hope I'm still making music. And I want people to look back at the early stuff and be able to go, wow, like that stuff was all right. Well, it wasn't the best, but it was all right. But look at how far they came. Look at the growth. And so a lot of even this is just you seeing the steps in that growth. And I hope it encourages you to don't worry about trying to get everything right the first try. Don't worry about trying to bust out that number one single right away. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. My encouragement to you is just take the steps. They're going to be messy. They're going to be sketchy. They're going to be awkward. And people are going to be like, you don't look as professional. And yeah, that has its place. But you're never going to get anywhere if you don't at least just take one sketchy step. So anyways, back to the song. This has become more of a talk stream than a songwriting stream. But so anyways, I'm going to lay down that riff and then I'm going to play some words with it. And that's the beauty of a looper pedal. And I'm going to turn it down just a second. Okay, kind of like that cut on the loop. And you'll notice it's because like I wasn't using the flanger and then threw it in when we got to the spacey parts to just kind of give it more of that space, like whoa. And then I like the hard cut because it kind of messes with it. So this looper will play it, and this is a lot of times how I start to find the melody, how I start to find the words, and a lot of times the words. Usually, most of my lyrics are written while I'm sitting in church on Sunday morning because I can't focus. And so it's just one of the ways I pay attention. But at the same time, it's also where like I stop and reflect like, okay, God, what have you been teaching me this week? What have you been showing me? And just running with that. So even now, I'm going to let this play and just kind of come up with some words for it. So we're going to feel it out. Today I feel like skipping to the end. I wanna skip to the end. Can I skip to Sorry, it gets catchy. I feel like it's arrogant to say that, but I'm also just being honest and just feeling it. I just love it when it's catchy, and I'm like, man, I get lost in my own little riff of just kind of like do 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 do. But yeah, so obviously that was kind of a rough cut with words, but that's something that song is kind of remind me of, this place where I often find myself in that weird in between of, God, I know what's true, but this is what I feel, and what do I do with that? Like, obviously, I'm still going to bring it to you, but I think a lot of times that's where I get stuck, is if what I know is true and what I feel are different, then even just doing what I know is true, it feels empty, or it feels passionless, and then it feels wrong. And then I'm like, well, shoot, I know my heart should be in this, but it's not. But I think that's the line of obedience and dying to self. Like, obviously, it's not like I'm doing God any favors and God is counting on me to do everything. This is his plan, and he's just called me to be a part of it. But wanting to get there, wanting to get to that joy, wanting to enjoy it, but at the same time, and I hate fake it till you make it, and I'm not sure where I stand on faith it till you make it. Gotta love Christian t-shirts. But no, something I do think is just kind of that. There's got to be that level of dying to self, of feelings you're good at revealing where my heart is at. As my pastor once said, feelings make really good gauges but terrible steering wheels, and I think that is very true. But anyways, that song is kind of that struggle of, I know I'm saved, but God, I feel so vile. God, I know I'm saved. I don't even think I threw that word in there. And that's where the songwriting process starts, and why I use a looper, so I can actually just kind of feel out the words. And that's where a lot of times that this struggle of, God, I know I'm saved, I know I'm forgiven, but I feel so vile, and I feel like skipping to the end. And that struggle mentally of, God, it's hard to press on because I feel so fake. I know it's worth it, but this is how I feel, and it's getting harder and harder to deal with that. But that's why I love songwriting, and why I love putting that into music, because God, here's what I know and here's what I feel, and regardless, I'm taking it to you. I'm going to take these to you because that's the only way I'm ever going to get somewhere. So we're going to play around a little bit more with some words. So even there, like that second verse I was trying was even just what's coming to mind, what's off the top of my head, because, and where I know looking at these lyrics, I'll probably watch this video later and be like, that was good. We can cut that out. But see, that's the thing is, and creative writing in college and in high school really taught me this of, you got to learn to embrace that for rough draft. I love how I said this wouldn't be me telling you how to do this, me just explaining, and yet I feel like so much of what I'm doing. It is my advice. Take it how you will. But we got to be okay with the rough draft. We got to see that it's not going to be pretty the first time around. You just get it all out there, throw it on paper, throw it on video, and you got to mess with it. You got to go in and filter through of, okay, I like this part. This line really fits really well. I don't know about this. But then I think that's where you also see whenever I bring this into Nick's mind as well and talk to him about it, Nick will bring out parts of the song that I'm like, oh shoot, that is cool. I didn't even think of throwing it like that. Or, some songs, even on the EP that drops on Halloween, and you can find it on our channel right now. If you go to 88, like so much of the song 88 became what it was and what it is because of Nick. So I think that's the beauty of it. You got to spend time with it yourself, get that rough draft, but don't do this alone. Don't do the songwriting alone. Like, yeah, it's cool to have creative control, but I love bringing in people I trust, getting their take on the song and seeing what they feel and what they want to add. And I mean, you go from there of where you're going to stand your ground and where you're going to let go. And that's what we also hope to do with the stream, is bring in other musicians and get their take on a song, and even whatever instrument they play, see how they're going to add it. Like my brother plays a banjo. Hey, Nathan, we're looking at like getting him on here one time, or just other people we play with in the church band. So I'm going to just kind of mess around with this riff to close this out. And I feel like this one really quick. But it's the first one, so it's going to be rough and it's going to be weird. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed it. I'm just going to have the looper play, and then I'm just going to kind of add in little trills and stuff, or maybe even say some words, like just to feel it out. Thank you all for hanging out today. My name is Brennan Wilson of Scale Fracture. Please subscribe to our channel. Follow us on Instagram at Scale Fracture Band. We post all of our upcoming shows. Our EP drops on all major platforms on Halloween, along with our single Salt, which has not been online before. So thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got something out of it. I'm gonna try and do this weekly, every Thursday, and then find a night where Nick and I both can be together on here. Like I said, it's a rough draft figuring out how to do this stream, but I had fun and I really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed sharing with y'all about it. So love y'all. Talk to you later.